What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Digging Deeper. It is Anthony here with Jen. If you don't know Jen, you need to know her. So don't swarm her, actually, but just figure out who she is. Ask about her.
Who doesn't know me?
Who is Jen Peterson? That's what we're going to talk about today. Tell me.
I'm ready.
Who is Jen Peterson?
Well, do you want the moments or do you want every individual thing that's happened in my life?
Good. She's good. Moments, actually. Don't care about your whole life.
Wow, that's deep.
No, but Jen is here. If you don't know, both Jen and me are on the youth team. So we are the youth team as far as staff goes. Obviously, the team extends far beyond us. Yeah, we have a ton of people, ton of amazing volunteers that I'm thankful for them. Maybe we should even just start by saying that.
Yeah, there is no way we could do what we do without them. Absolutely not.
I always think about that, but how impossible is youth ministry without volunteers?
Well, not only they get in the trenches with us, with the students, but I feel like they keep us grounded too.
Yeah,
we have so much fun with them, and it's so fun to partner with people that you love and to do what God's calling you to do. It's literally the best.
And all ministry is impossible without volunteers. Hopefully people understand that. Ministry, church-wide, obviously. People volunteering who aren't on staff at the church. But like youth ministry, there's that. And then, the thing I've understood or come to find too is the ability to relate. They understand teenagers because they work with them like us. I think there's a big separation from the average teenager and the average adult. And so if I try to talk to people who aren't serving in youth ministry, it's so it doesn't make sense. And they're either well, all teenagers are the devil, or they're oh, they're sweethearts. And I'm they're somewhere in between the devil and sweethearts.
What does 6'7" actually mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yes, I feel like we speak a different language for sure.
100%. Yeah. We're in all the lingo and slang and everything, but
it keeps me young.
Yeah, me, it's I don't know. My body hurts, so I don't feel young, but whatever. Me and Jen are on the youth team. We're super honored by that, and if you're wondering why we're here and you weren't here on Sunday, I'll go ahead and spoil it, but we did something called Youth Sunday yesterday where we got together and we basically recapped and highlighted some moments from summer camp. Mm-hmm. I shared a little message about why I believe camp is what it is and how we can have those experiences that we have at camp with God everywhere and not just experience him once a year. And then we close out service with baptism. So it was
many
a
baptisms.
Packed Sunday.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
It was so fun. The energy felt just different. I don't know. Just from the students being in the lobby, greeting everybody and on the stage and greeting. I don't know. I feel like the auditorium just felt so alive. I felt
the same way. And it was the first time, I think, ever in my Rise City tenure, I guess, of 3 years. It felt so weird being not weird. It was my first time ever, and it felt good. But seeing second service packed to the brim
I thought the same thing. I was where did all these people come from?
We had more people in second service than first service.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. When I got up for announcements, I was I thought second service was lower, but there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. But one of the things about Youth Sunday that I love, and I know she loves, and most people seem to love. Well, you'll agree. I'd be shocked if you didn't agree. But we get students involved in everything we can.
Yeah.
So we have students on the worship team. We have students greeting. We have students in the lobby. Students
at the coffee
merch.
cart. Hope your coffee was good.
Students at the coffee cart. Good luck with that. Great, loving students. Our most disciplined students
Definitely.
At the coffee cart. Lies.
You probably had 3 shots of espresso. You didn't even know.
The craziest kids, the craziest boys were can we do the coffee cart? I was you want to be with the $12,000 coffee cart?
Oh, dear.
Okay, sure. So we let them. But we get students everywhere. And so one of the funniest things to me yesterday was Jordan, one of our students, Jordan Parker, shout out to her. She did announcements with you and welcome with you.
Yeah.
And she's a confident person. She's hard to make uncomfortable socially. I think she's pretty vocal and stuff. And so I picked her for that and gave her the opportunity because I've heard her speak messages and I just feel like she's the perfect mix of energy and communicator to do that. And it was funny because she was talking to me about it on Wednesday, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm in, but I'm not really nervous. I just don't know what to expect. Am I cracking jokes?
I think she was nervous.
Yeah, do it all. Yeah, she got nervous when she got there for sure. But she was going into first service, and I told her, I said, "Hey, I've only been on the main stage a few times for messages, twice for messages, and then handful of times or probably double digits for announcements. But I told her, in my experience, the first service has way more people, but feels like it has typically less energy and almost no response." She was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, if you make jokes, just know, I've been on that stage and like I've made jokes and seen people just like this,
They're
and
not
then
awake
afterwards be like, that was the funniest joke I've ever heard. And I'm like, then smile. Like, that's how life works, man. Like, and so she was like, okay. And she was like, well, maybe you weren't funny. Maybe you're not funny enough. And so I was kind of like, all right, Jordan. And then she goes on stage and like, I could hear her make jokes because I was behind the curtain getting ready. And I just heard no laughter. And then she'd make more jokes. And then after first service, I see her, she walks up and she goes, oh, boy, was I wrong. She was like, they didn't laugh at anything. I was like, I told you. But then second service, they all were, they're a lot more responsive, and it was packed. And it's like, it probably helps that, all the middle schoolers
once you do it
joined,
once
and
too, it's like you feel a little more comfortable.
yeah,
up on
that's true.
stage.
You
Yeah.
realize you're not going to like just disintegrate in front of people when there's
Exactly.
crowds. But then there's like all the middle schoolers, a ton of high schoolers at second service. So kind of our crowd is more there too, I think. And
Yeah,
that
a little more comfortable.
that probably helps with some of the response and feedback. But second service, she did it, and she comes up to me and she's like, I tightened it up a bit. I was like, whoa. It was just so funny.
so great.
But I loved it. I loved it. And so one of the things we did, we started off with the announcements, and then if you weren't there, I'll let you know. But if you were there, I'm just recapping this because we're going to kind of walk down the same path we did in service. So we brought out one volunteer, his name's Josh, and then two students, one graduated senior named Lily, and then one student going in his junior year named Braden, who, we have a ton of amazing students.
Yeah, we do.
We literally could have if we had a line of students that went to camp, of everyone that went, everyone could have shared something. Like,
For real. We could have taken up the whole thing.
yeah, for sure. And so we picked them. We just felt like it was the right opportunity for them. And then with Josh, we could have had every other leader up there as well. But they all got up there and they answered 3 questions. So I feel like a fun way to start the podcast and a cool way would be just in terms of summer camp, because you and I have now been same amount of times. Or I think I went one
You
more
went
than
one
you.
without me, yeah.
That's right. The very first middle school camp I went without her. And it was like 3 days after I got hired here. So
Then he decided he was never doing that again.
yeah, I was like, Jen, I need you. But yeah, so I think we should answer these 3 questions, and it could be from this year or any year, let's say.
Okay.
But we're gonna answer the 3 questions we asked yesterday. So it's what is your favorite part of summer camp? What's a funny moment from camp? And then what's something you've seen God do? And so we'll start with that first one. For you, in your opinion, there's a million things at camp, but what is your favorite part of summer camp?
Oh my gosh, that is such a hard question for me because I have come to love summer camp so much with our students. So picking a favorite is so hard, but I actually kind of agree with Josh. Like, Mud Bowl is one of my favorite things we do at camp. And I do not know why, if it's just the raw energy, it's just like the beast mode that turns on with the kids and the leaders. The competitions there are just like, I don't know.
Grimy.
They
kinda.
are.
Yeah,
They're
it's like
really
gross.
grimy. And yeah, I mean, I grew up in Point Loma, so I'm not super hood, but I feel
Straight out the mud. Straight out the
straight out the
mud.
mud. But I feel like it's just so much fun energy. So I love the Mud Bowl. Yeah, I love that part of it.
I love the Mud Bowl too. I get frustrated at times because people don't.
You do not love the Mud Bowl.
No, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
This
okay.
year I got kind of screwed over because I covered myself in mud, and this year I got frustrated for a different reason. What I was gonna say is normally I get frustrated because there's always those 2 cool boys or two
my
or
son.
3 girls that are like,
Ew.
my hair, my fingernails, I'm not
can't.
doing it, and those are the ones that frustrate
We
me.
had a student straight lose a fingernail one time.
Yeah.
Remember JoJo?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, it was rough. But this year I got frustrated because, so the way Josh explained it was pretty good. But if you don't go, you might not understand. Like, it's a mud bowl, but the best way I'd explain it is actually it's murky water.
Yeah,
like it's not a ton of mud. You have to kind of find
gotta
the right
find the mud.
spot. Yeah,
I always
And-
find the mud.
Yeah, and but the thing about the mud is you put it on you and. If you get splashed with water, it comes
gone.
off.
Yeah.
So this year I got so frustrated because I went up to some of the freshman boys and I was all, cover me. Like,
Yeah.
the first competition they do to get people involved is literally the muddiest
team. Yep.
gets points. So you have to cover yourself in mud, and like I cover myself and I'm
Put reeds in your
I'm
mouth.
standing there drying and I'm like making jokes, I'm going around yelling at kids they need more mud, and then some of the like sophomore girls come up and they're like, you're not muddy enough, and start splashing, making jokes. Completely washes
Gone.
all the mud off my arms.
Oh,
And then they
no.
blow their whistle and they're like, everyone circle up. I was like,
And we're like, Anthony, get in the back.
I was so mad. I was like, I want to be the front. I had a stick in my mouth already to try and win.
It's so
'cause
gross. You guys,
you get more
You
points
can't
for-
even understand the smell unless you're there.
I've
It
seen
is
a kid,
nasty.
I've seen a kid roll up like 3 different mud meatballs or something. He called them.
No.
I have to try so hard not to say names. I don't want to expose all the kids. But and then when they come around for the muddiest competition, you pose, you do like a cheer or whatever, and this kid will just bite into them. And I'm like,
No,
dude,
I don't love
you know how many
Mud
feet
Bowl
step
that
on
much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
it is
gross.
fun. It
But
is
yeah,
super
Mud
fun.
Bowl's great. It's a good time, and I think part of the reason it's so good is it's like they're teenagers. They take life so seriously.
Yeah,
like just
that's
that's
so
how the
true.
world is, and that's a whole nother thing. But like I think when they get in
Watching
the
them
mud,
be
it's
free
like,
is fun.
oh yeah, they're kids, and for them, I think it's like, oh yeah, we're kids. Like
yeah.
play. When's the last time they played? When I was a kid, I'm like, I
we
played
made
in mud all
pies
the
all the time.
Yeah, I was in mud more than I wasn't in mud,
Yeah.
probably. And I didn't grow up in Point Loma, so there was a lot of mud where I was. Yeah, it was crazy. That's a good one.
Well,
Mud
that's my
Bowl's good.
non-spiritual answer, anyways.
What would be your spiritual favorite part?
Oh my goodness. Watching kids' eyes, like spiritual eyes, open up to who Jesus is and what he can do for their lives, like in actual real time, is one of the hugest privileges of my life. Like I feel like every time I come home from camp, I try to explain to my husband like what happened there, and there are so many stories and so many things that it takes a year to like really unpack it all. But the gift of being able to watch the kids see Jesus
Yeah.
in their lives, and like we're talking about like kids who like come from all different walks of life, who are carrying in like really heavy burdens from like just doubts, and just watching Jesus meet them where they're at and having their eyes open and going like it clicks. It's the
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, I think spiritually.
Coolest is not even like the word.
Yeah, I
don't
know,
even
but I know what you mean. It's different. It's
overwhelms
different than
me.
anything else. It
Yeah.
is overwhelming, and not overwhelming in like a stressful way. It's overwhelming in like a way that only God could. God could, like
Yeah.
God. I've said it yesterday multiple times. I said it probably 4 different ways, and I was laughing about it on the way home. I was like, I think I said wholeheartedly more than I've ever said it in my life. I was like, what am I, a birthday card or something? But either way, like you see these kids have moments where
Yeah.
there's literally zero doubt in their mind that they're having an encounter with God.
Yeah, it's
And
so
it
real.
is so cool to see from the outside, especially for us. Like for me, it's always the tears, like the breakdown moment for kids is my favorite spiritual part because like, I mean, we invest so much into them, and it's like waiting for those breakthrough moments, praying for those breakthrough moments, I should say, not just waiting. Like I expect God's going to do it, but I've been in ministry just long enough that I know there's seeds that you see come to fruition that you plant, and then there's seeds you plant that you will never
do not,
see,
yeah.
and they might be 28 and living in a different state or country before that God really gets a hold of their life and they give up everything. Like, and so every time I get to be a part of seeing a seed that someone at Rise City has planted come to fruition, it's like, thank you,
It's
God.
such a gift.
Like,
I think too this year we came, well, I don't know about you, but I came into camp going like, will it happen? Like, I feel like I was a little discouraged. We've had a tough year with some
Yeah.
of our students, and just like, not in bad ways, but just like, I don't know if I would describe it as stagnant, maybe. I don't know. But every year at camp, we've had such huge moments with these kids, and it has really helped the trajectory of our youth group grow, not just like in numbers, but spiritually as well. And so this year coming into camp, I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen this year. And I feel like I really got a word from the Lord right before, like, you can believe the impossible and the hard things that God will do. He's going to show up. And then just like taking those kids and just like watching them going, okay, like what's going to happen with our high schoolers specifically. And then just going, oh man, exceedingly abundantly is like just what he does. Just he shows up and he does more than we could have even asked.
Yeah.
So
I would say
really
the same
cool.
thing. And like for those of you listening who aren't involved in youth ministry, number one, get involved in youth ministry in some way. But number two, like I felt the same way, and it's not like, oh, the high school ministry is doing bad.
no.
I just talked with the leaders yesterday, and like I describe it as a growing pain. Like,
yeah, for sure.
like the room is too small for us now.
Yes,
that's
it
not a
is.
complaint. That's a growing pain. Like we're having, because of our growth, we're facing new pains that we wouldn't face if we didn't have 80 kids a week. You know what I
So
mean? Like,
real.
and that's an amazing thing.
Yeah,
but
it is.
also one of the growing pains we have is the amount of just spiritual warfare. Like the things that the kids are
Yes.
facing are not just my mom took her debit card off my Xbox. My mom isn't giving me money for lunch. Like, it's not like small, like those things might mean a lot to kids, and we work with kids through those, but like we're having like, you know, hardcore levels of depression and anxiety and fear, and like crippling to the point where like we have students that are missing school. We have students like just heavy things to where Wednesday nights it becomes like you just feel the weight of all of that, you know? And so I would say I felt the same way as you, but not as much like, is God going to do it? It was more for me like, I was honestly like, well, what has camp been? Yeah. And I was like, there has not been a summer camp where we have not seen God move in some way. So to me, it was more like I shifted my perspective ahead of time to, now that we're taking 90 kids, it might not be all 90 that have that experience, but I don't want to focus on the 40 that don't. Yeah. I like, how do I get my mind and my eyes on like, you know, the 50 that have this moment that is good. And then it ended up being like pretty much all 90, like 89 had an amazing experience.
It really is incredible.
And yeah, now it's just coasting off of that. So I'm with you on that. I would say my favorite part of camp that's not spiritual, just for anyone wondering.
For funsies.
Yeah, I think Lily said it, but it is so cool to see, I think, the free time, but not in the aspect of, like, I think everything's great, but the free time specifically, I feel like we see kids connect in ways they never have. Like, either they take their current friendship and relationship deeper, or they bring along students that they've never connected with. Like, I can't tell you how many kids I saw going into camp were either like surface level relationships and left like this, or kids that had struggled to find their community and then went to camp and left and are like hanging out every day and like doing things like this.
Well, no, we had kids come to camp who have come to the church, didn't even know we had a youth group, and just showed up and signed up for camp, and now are like fully connected.
Yeah, baptized, connected, had moments with God. Yeah,
it's really cool. And like the kids that you see hanging out all the time, when they go to camp, they have all these like weird little connections and stories, and that just bond them. And so like, you know, kids from different grades or different genders are connecting, and it's just like, it's fun because the whole group gets to connect in new ways.
And if it weren't for the amazing leaders at Rise City Youth, there'd be a lot more friends of opposite genders connecting. So we have a rule at camp: no making purple. So
well, if you don't know what that
everyone
means,
has a rule. It just means, you know, guys are generally blue, girls are generally pink. I've been told that if you mix blue and pink, it's purple. Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's also a camp rule. So all that to say, camp love is a real thing, and the good news is it always fades about 3 days after, at best. I don't know, 3 weeks, I'd say, probably after.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, TBD.
Time will tell.
But you said, there's a lot of moments at camp and stuff like that. This is probably one of my favorite questions, and again, we could speak to all summer camps, I would say.
Yeah.
There are so many funny stories from summer camp.
Yeah.
And I love sharing those because summer camp is amazing, but also there's a side of it that people, I think, forget about. Like, it's not start to finish amazing all the way through. Like, there's a lot of lighthearted moments. There's a lot of difficult moments. There's so many different things that happen. But what is a funny moment, or are some funny moments that come to mind when you think about summer camp, if you have any?
Well, I mean, I feel like the boys probably have a lot of like weirder things than the girls. Because they just
I was going to say, what is that supposed to be?
I mean, I don't know.
Guys
The funny,
weird,
the funny stories. But I will say, like, actually, one of the funniest stories was one of my daughters. She painted herself for team comp, and
I remember.
I think she was red for like a week after we got home. Like, it didn't even look sunburnt either. She just looked like a different color, like she was an alien or something. But like they get all like comped out, right? Like whatever your team color is, it's like the glitter and
all the color,
all the things. Oh, the funny, like your Spider-Man was funny. Remember when
Yes,
we had one year where we were red, and so we were painting everybody's faces Spider-Man, and I was doing most of the faces, and then we just ran out of time.
A student
was like, "I'll do Anthony's face," and it was like like a Pinterest
she painted me the word. It wasn't Spider-Man.
It was not
Spooderman. Yeah, it was terrible.
Spooderman.
And I literally have if you're ever in the office and you think of this story, look in my office wall. We have it painted and put on the wall. So it was like all these kids with like, yours was actually amazing though. The Amazing Spider-Man, no pun intended. Anyways, I have gifts, but it was like all these like sick, Like it was like 40 kids with like Spider-Man paint. And then it was me with like a crooked eyes and like
Our fearless leader.
and like half blue, half red. Like
That actually is how ministry is kind of
I
sometimes.
look like
We
a
get
cannibal.
a little beat up. We get a little
I
beat
look
up.
like a cannibal. Like
You-
she like painted around my mouth like a blood red. I was like, what is this? And she was
Oh.
convinced it was good. That
She
was funny.
swore. That was funny.
Oh man! Now I want to text her and just remind her she ruined my life at camp that year. Yeah, there's so many funny ones. I think a good one from this year that I didn't share yesterday was the first morning is me, Dawson, and Jet as the leaders in middle school camp, and we're with the 6th grade boys, and we sleep. Like they have counselor coffee at 7:30. I'm the type of guy, I'll get up at 7:20 and I'll be a couple minutes late to counselor coffee
too.
because
Mornings
I'm
are
up
not my
late.
favorite.
Yeah, I don't like mornings in general, especially at camp when you're exerting so much energy. And so
Yeah.
we were getting up, like we had to set an alarm for like 7:15. Well, at 6:45 we hear a rooster. Loud.
I
And
already
we're
know
like,
what this is.
we start to open our eyes kind of, and we all like kind of, no one really says anything. We hear a couple of seconds later. And I'm like,
you do a good rooster.
and some kid, I don't know how I'm doing that, but some kid was like, what is that? And I was like, it's just some kid being stupid outside the window. Like all mad. We get up, whatever, we go to breakfast, all this. The next morning we hear it again. And I was like, somebody get that kid. Like I was like mad. We're at breakfast and we walk up to breakfast a little late, and Kurt, one of our leaders, is sitting there laughing, and he's like, I didn't tell you. My boys have been sleeping past the alarm, so I've been waking them up with a rooster sound. And I was like, bro, we hear you 2 dorms away. We literally hear you
That's
doing a
so
rooster
good.
sound. Like it was crazy. And
Julia does that with her girls. She has like a whole playlist, and so
Yeah.
I think she does like Yankee Doodle Dandy or something in the morning.
Yeah.
Something annoying or
I
Lion
taught her
King.
that, and I take credit for it.
Oh, okay.
Because my boys, whenever they're asleep, I always download one song for camp, and it's Cotton Eye Joe, because it's one of the most annoying songs
It is. Goes on
in
forever.
general, but it starts heavy. Like it starts loud, like, you had a man for cotton. And so if they're sleeping, I set it on their ear. I set my phone by their ear, full volume, and I just click play, and then it's like,
Oh.
if it had a man for cotton, I Joe, and they always jump. And so they know, like some of the six.
We
now
just
they're
go to
freshmen.
torture students.
The
That's why we
freshman
go to camp.
boys know, like they were in my dorm, and I mean, the first 3 days, I probably woke 3 of them up a day with the Cotton Eye Joe.
That's
so
awesome.
then I'd be like, my alarm would go off, none of them would get up, and I'd be like, last call before Cotton Eye Joe, and they'd start to jump out of bed, like bags under their eyes, like, please no. I was like,
God, I had great girls this year. I don't know. They got up and went and got coffee by themselves. And
yeah, I'm like, who are you?
I know.
Such a difference between girls and boys, for sure.
Literally.
Another funny story, I think a lot of people go to camp for a lot of reasons. God moves, obviously, we talked about that. We'll talk more about that. But I think there are a good bit of kids who go to camp and with the mindset of like, I'll meet my future wife or my future husband here.
I mean,
you
it
know?
could happen, I guess.
It could, but it's never gonna, you know? And so, which is different. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, if you go to Bible college and leave without a spouse, it's tough. I've been there.
Wow.
I mean, because you're like,
That
that's your
happened
one
to you.
place. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you're like, that's like kind of the end of the rope. Summer camp is like the beginning. You're like,
not.
you get a chance. But
Oh my gosh.
there's some boys last year in my dorm at middle school camp as well who, from the start, I'm sitting in a circle. I'm like, what are your goals? Like, first kid's like, I want to get closer to God. I was like, oh, that's so cute. Next kid was like, I've been struggling this year in my relationship with God. I want to be more disciplined. I was like, that's amazing. Get to the next kid. I'm like, what's your goal for camp this year? And he's like, I want to talk to a girl. And
Just
I was
actually
like,
talk to
yeah, that was it. And I was like,
I
oh,
remember this.
and I was like,
He did well.
like Miss Jen or Miss Christina or like, what do you mean when
No.
you say girl? And he's like, no, I want to talk to a girl, like talk. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like a girl in our youth group, and he literally goes, any girl. And then he goes,
all.
I
Ever.
can't. Yeah, he was like, I can't even talk to my cousins without getting nervous.
Oh, buddy.
And I was like, all right, well, I believe you could do that. And so all week we're hyping him up. We're like chanting his name. We finished small group, and before we brush our teeth, I made every boy, including me, and Jet was also the leader at that time too. Every boy in our like small group,
So cute.
and me and Jet had to give one piece of advice or encouragement.
Oh, I wish you
every
would have
night.
written that down.
It was hilarious. Every night we did it, and and we got him fired up. And then the last night he was like, tonight's the night I'm going to talk to some girls.
At the dance party.
And so he starts walking up to some girls. Yeah, the last night is a giant dance party.
So fun.
He starts walking up to a group of girls, not just like he had it, like he had it, one girl in his sights, I guess. One girl specifically he had been crushing on or something for years, he said, which I don't know. It's always so funny how they're like out of nowhere, they're like, I've liked them for years.
I
We're
know.
like, you're 8. What do you mean?
I heard some of those stories this year.
But he was like, I've liked her for a long time. So he starts walking up to the group, and I guess one of the girls sees him and like says something. So all the girls turn and look, and he ran and squatted behind a bush to hide.
Oh no.
And they went looking for him.
The girls?
Yeah. And so he
Oh.
was like, I literally was holding my knees, crouched in a bush. He was like, it was like a bush with another bush, and he was like sandwiched in between them. And he was like, and I was holding my breath so they would walk by me and not hear me or see me.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, he had like scratches on his arms from the bush. I was like, dude, what? He was like, I just can't do it. So that was hilarious, I think, for me to see. But a lot of funny moments at camp. I think, we could keep telling stories. There's plenty of funny stories with the bears and the alarm, plenty of funny stories. There's a ton. But, summer camp is what it is. We already shared our favorite spiritual part, but what is something like specific or a specific story or something from all the years of summer camp that you've seen either God do in your life through summer camp or something you've seen God do in students' lives? Because I know you've seen God do a lot through students' lives, but I think people forget like God moves in our lives as leaders too at camp.
No, really. I think my faith has been, oh my gosh, just like strengthened by watching what happens in these kids' lives and just constantly reminded how real Jesus is and how he shows up for them. But like specifically, I will say now, being a mom working in youth ministry, it's not easy. So like watching your kids go through relational issues or like trying to get out of their way. So like you're not mom in that space.
Yeah.
There can be some struggles with that. I mean, but also one of the gifts that I get to see is watching Jesus show up for my kids. And so like, I was raised Catholic, but I didn't have a personal relationship with Jesus until I was 19 years old. So I didn't walk with him at all. But like from 19 on, he totally changed my life. And like, I feel like I remember so well, like that decision and what led to now. And like, Todd and I raising our kids in a different way and doing it for the first time. Like we didn't have an example of like a godly heritage that some people have growing up in church. And so we're just making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
And so now like getting to see Julia as a leader.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's going to make me emotional.
Yeah.
Getting to see her and disciple the next generation, and then just like watching like Joaquin make decisions. I won't like spill like his stuff, and like watching Olivia respond and like minister to her friends and all of that kind of stuff. Like I just like I think about the redemption of the Lord and like how he promises to restore things, and like I get to like see that in real time, and it just, man, there's nothing better. Like I just,
because of your decision at 18 or 19,
and I got to share
your whole
that.
family's changed.
I got to share that with a student. Oh man, at high school camp, who has a tough family, and who she's kind of alone making a decision for faith, and I got to share like. And I get to point her to real life examples of like what your decision is going to do.
Changes everything
for your future family. And that was a really cool moment. Yeah.
That's
watching Julia baptize a student was, I don't even know.
Julia is Jen's oldest daughter, recently graduated, attending one of the largest, it's the largest Christian university, Liberty University. We're so proud of her and excited, but it's all the way in Virginia, right?
So far.
Virginia. Isn't that where George Washington's from? She literally went back in time, I think. But either way, we love Julia. We're so proud of her. But it was this moment that was like bittersweet's the perfect way to sum it up. Like incredible watching her lead. Also like that part of us that was like, she's going to college was difficult, but great leader. And all those high school leaders that end up joining middle school, they just crush it. They've done such a phenomenal job. Like
they're exceptional.
Yeah. And you see a difference, right? Like they're seeing, it's cool because they're still in high school, but they're seeing what we see, but through middle school camp lens. Like they're seeing their weekly time when they lead small groups and their time praying for the students. They're seeing that pay off at camp just like we do with them and with the middle schoolers too, obviously. But like, it's so
Yeah,
cool.
watching Lily talk about how like last year she was one of the students who like didn't know how God fit in her life, and like making a decision to now being like one of our strongest,
Yep.
student leaders. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
And
just,
like talks of ministry and like still so much she hasn't done. Like she can sing and she's just
She's so
not in a
solid.
stage where she wants to be on stage singing yet. And it's like, I just like, yeah, I see it now. I'm like, I see, you look at these kids and it's like, you see the potential and they just don't, and like, that's like,
Yeah.
sometimes that's hard, but it's also so exciting when you start to see them make decisions or take those little steps. Cause you're like, we can see like how far they can really go.
yeah.
It's so exciting.
You're
But
like, oh, just wait, kiddo.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
God's gonna do
that's
like
how
the
it
biggest
feels.
thing. It really is. It's so exciting.
man, that's so good. And yesterday we, I mentioned I have a love-hate relationship with summer camp. Love everything about it. The only thing I really hate when I say I hate it is that it's once a year. And I tell people this. That doesn't mean I'm like, let's do summer camp all year. I couldn't do that. I'd
No.
become Gollum from Lord of the Rings if we did that, I think. But I'd just crawl around and add S's.
Spooderman.
Yeah, Spooderman would be back. But like literally, summer camp is great. Life change does happen. Kids
Why do
encounter
you
God.
think it's so great? What are the elements that you feel like? I mean, I think you maybe touched about that, but what
Yeah,
makes it so good?
Well, I didn't say this in the message. Well, I'll start with the first thing I said in the message. So I think the main thing that causes all of it to happen is expectation.
Sure.
I think we, through the way we promote, the way we talk, and what we expect, I think helps kind of mold and shape the expectation of the students who, like, now that we have summer camp is a part of our culture.
Yep.
Our youth group cultures, like, it's part of it. There's no
Could
change
never
in
take
that.
it out.
Yeah, you could not. It would be like removing the heart and expecting the body to pump blood. Like,
For
it's
sure.
not gonna work. And so, they have this now that they have experiences at summer camp. Their expectation is even more solidified. But it's so strong that, like, they label it as Cry Night. They talk about how camp is amazing. Like, just their language seems to be like a reflection of their expectation. They're like, summer camp is so good, you gotta love it. When they're talking to a new kid, it's one of my favorite things when it's like, hey, if you don't know about summer camp, don't ask me or Jen or a leader, ask a student that's
For
been.
sure.
Because you hear the students you see them light up and they're like, it's amazing. The worship is so good. We go to the front. It's so much energy. We do games and competitions and we get decked out in our team color, and God always does so much. Like, people get baptized and people make decisions to accept Jesus. And like, I think that the language starts to like kind of shape the expectation. So the first reason I think summer camp is what it is expectation.
Yeah.
And I didn't add this in my message because my second point was, once you get your expectations right, you're more aware of the moments that you're having with God.
Yeah.
But I would say part of shifting our expectation and part of the reason they're able to expect what they expect is because we remove one of the biggest distractions in their life for summer camp, and that's cell phones.
Yeah. I was going to say environment really does play a part.
Oh, environment.
Getting
for
out
sure.
in like God's creation and just like
Yeah.
literally just being in that without distractions of the cell phone is
Yeah, no
so
cell
key.
phones, no service, no music. Like, even if they sneak something, like, we deal with it, but there's not service. Like, the reason we don't allow phones is because even though there's not service, they'd find something.
They really
So
would.
we're like, no phones. Leaders aren't on their phones really ever, so it's perfect for them. Like, it's really for emergencies.
It's
So
all relationship.
yeah, that, and then it's just like, when's the last time, like, they do a thing called solo time where you take some time and it's just like you and the Bible. When's the last time for students they took time out of their life to just sit with God? You could read your Bible, you could pray, or you could just sit and think. Like, when's the last time you even just took time to sit and think with no distraction, no music, no phone, no people around you? It probably hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So I think that really is part of the reason camp is what it is they're experiencing things around them that are always around them. Like, yeah, you're surrounded by trees, but you might not ever actually sit and look at the tree when you got your phone in your hand. You know what I
No,
mean? And
yeah.
like,
They're never looking up.
yeah, and you hear it again in their language when they talk about solo time. The amount of time I'm like talking to guys, I'm like, hey, how was your solo time? And they're like, great. Like, it is crazy to think about how God created all of this.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's a crazy thought in general, but especially when you're looking at how like intricate and detailed the trees are. And, like, And I'm not trying to be like hippie about it or anything, but also it is like, it's crazy. Like it blows your mind when you're like,
you as a hippie would be kind of funny.
I don't think I could do it.
No.
Too dirty for me.
Yeah, but it is crazy, just like the tool of the enemy to distract us from actually seeing where God is and who God is through any of those things.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yep.
So that, I think that plays a part in camp, as well as the like consistency. So we get time. Like that's another thing I didn't say there, but like we get them 1 day a week. If we're lucky, 2 days a week. Like good leaders get them 2 days a week because we're doing something, right? We're going to a game, we're going to a meal, we're doing something. But we, 2 days a week, it's not 2 full days. It's 2 hours on Wednesday night and maybe an hour to 2 hours. Even if you're at their game, you're in the bleachers while they're playing, and then you're talking to them for 5 minutes after.
Yeah.
So like it really is like, I think the 5 days of 24 hours straight gives us so much more of an opportunity to speak to them.
Well, and
engage.
Insight into who they are too.
Yeah, insight. Yeah,
I think about the meals that you get to like sit down and have with each one of, because we kind of like, you and I at least, we kind of like go around to all the different tables and eat with all kinds of different students. But just like, I just think of one student in particular, like there's always music playing at the meals, and there's this one kid that just like, he just grooves the entire time.
That's
he just
so
is like
funny.
always dancing. And it's just like one of my favorite things. He doesn't seem like a kid that would always be dancing, but he is always dancing. It's just,
yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
parts is like, I'm with my small group. So your small group at camp is your dorm. And so like, I'm with them in the dorm. So my rule for myself is like, I'll touch base with them at meals unless there's like some sort of misbehavior going on.
Yeah.
But otherwise I'm like, I want to be with other kids at meals, especially kids I don't know. So, like I sat with 3 girls that are newer to the youth group going into freshman year, and I learned so much. Like all 3 are like, we can't come on Wednesday nights because we have dance. And I'm like, dance? What do you mean dance? And they're like, they're do
real good.
all kind. They are. It's like they like travel for these like
I
dance
know.
competitions, which is funny because I do respect it. But then I was like, what kind of dance do you do? There's like 12, and they're like, hip hop and medieval and slow motion
asking, like,
and reverse.
so like, are there taps on the toes?
They
too?
do tap
Like,
dancing.
I know.
Yeah, you heard me ask that. I was
Yes,
like, how do you, what's the clicking noise? Like, what is that? They said we do tap dancing. And I was like, who's the crowd? Your parents? Like,
Oh my gosh.
no, that'll pay off if you ever, in case you wake up and it's the 1900s, I guess. But no, it's just crazy.
Idiot.
Like,
There are plenty of avenues for good dancers.
I felt so old. They were like, we tap dance. And I was like, okay, Shirley Temple. And they just kept looking at me. And I was like, they don't get it. I was going to make an animal crackers in their soup joke next, but it didn't work.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, yeah, I love those type of moments where we're able to connect. And so I said that expectation leads to moments, and moments lead to decisions. And you make a decision. Everyone's making decisions all the time. Like,
Yeah.
so in this case, it'd be you taking the momentum from the moment and you make a decision. Do I run with it and I run to God, or do I go in opposite direction? Do I try to figure it out my own? Do I do,
I mean, you do that for the rest of your life.
Yep. Everyone is always making decisions.
Yep.
Everybody. You make a decision not to make a decision even. So that's a
Yeah.
decision. Boom. Got you. Take that, flat earthers. But either way, literally the decisions though, this is where we'll kind of close too, but that is for me the bow, that's what makes camp is like you see kids make decisions in real time. And yes, it gets difficult when they get back. Yes, some of them, might veer and drift, but they know that moment they had with God is something that they'll never question. It becomes a staple in their life, and then they make decisions to get baptized. They make decisions to raise their hand to accept Jesus. Some of them make decisions to just say, I'm not sure about God, but I'm willing to keep listening and learn.
Ask the questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
ask those questions.
so powerful. I love that we give them space to do that too, because it's
Yeah, I
like
think so.
I mean, sometimes you're not ready, and there's nothing better than making it authentic and real, because then it's undeniable. Like all those little moments that lead to decisions, those kids hold them in their hearts, and we do too, because you cannot explain them away.
Yeah.
Having an encounter with the real and living God is something that you cannot explain away. It's something that is so personal and so real, and when it happens, it is a decision that lasts a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's so exciting to me, because I do remember that decision for myself at 19. I look at these kids and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this decision right now is going to
That's
lead
what I
them
think, too.
into forever. We watched, baptisms on Sunday, and we get the backstories of all those kids
Yeah.
that are stepping into the tank. So like, I'm watching everybody walk into the tank, and I'm like, wow, the chains that are being broken and the things that
the
are
generations that are changing.
The literal, like these kids are bringing their families to Jesus. Like they are literally bringing their parents and their cousins and their brothers, and we're seeing them baptizing their parents, and like it. I don't know. It's the coolest.
It's the confidence of it. Like, yes, it could be nerve wracking. Like for me, one of the coolest baptisms I think I've ever been a part of happened yesterday, and I've been thinking about it all night. Like Vanessa, a student, got baptized, and she's been going through it. Ended up was like, I'm done playing games with God. Like, you know, and she got in the tank. We asked the questions. You know, do you believe that Jesus walked this earth and gave his life for you? Yes. Do you commit the rest of your life to following him? She leaned forward, grabbed the mic, and was all, absolutely.
I know.
And I was like,
I know.
Now I'm going to fill this baptismal with my tears.
I know.
Amen.
Yeah, the cold water. It would have been warmer with your tears.
Yeah, honestly.
It was cold yesterday.
I know. Greg was like, the heater broke. I was like, oh, give me a warning, bro. It was freezing. But summer camp is amazing.
Yeah.
Youth ministry is amazing, and it is difficult. But I think it's worth it. And it's moments like this where you see, you know, you start to see it, that you're like, this is awesome. Like this is growing pains, for one. We're blessed to be a part of their lives. Unfortunately, at times being part of their lives means the good and the bad. Like obviously all of us would love if there was no difficulty in anything, but it's so worth it when you know that there's a reason they're facing those difficulties, and we have an opportunity to like lead them in a way that the rest of the world doesn't. Like teachers might just yell at them and tell them to shut up. They're not pouring into their life, you know.
No, we really do.
Coaches
love them.
just yell at them. Yeah, like we're taking time to really invest, and I think that's why every leader would tell you there's a weight that comes with leading the next generation, but also there's a reward like unlike anything you see anywhere else.
That's so real.
So
if you're thinking about getting involved in youth ministry, I know there's been
know.
some people that have come up and talked to me. It hasn't been right timing and all that kind of stuff, but like, man,
just let us know.
It's a gift.
And we'll let you know what spots we have or when we have spots, but come find me, Jen, let us know. You can email us, whatever. Even just generosity, I'll end by saying that. Thank you to everyone who gave. If you're listening to this, you were able to send so many kids to camp, and that was so helpful for us. And just so excited to see what else God's going to do. I mean, we're outgrowing our room, which means there's going to be some sort of changes here soon, probably. Yeah. We have to figure out what that looks like. So a lot of fun things in the works, but thank you guys for listening. Be praying for the youth ministry and all the leaders and students involved, and we will see you guys on Sunday.